And welcome to Stubtown's spoiler section. We are still talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 / Baby Groot the movie.
Showtime, a-holes!
Hello, I'm Octavia.
I'm Nick.
And this is Stubtown, talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This section is full of spoilers.
Yondu dies! Sorry. Didn't mean to. But Yondu dying matters. Which was cool, because I hated him in the first movie. He sucked. As a character. I mean, not his acting. His acting was great, but I mean, like, he's an asshole, you know?
A lovable asshole.
In the first one?
I mean, he protects Peter Quill. Star-Lord, through and through.
I would argue that he was a second away from killing him more than once.
Because he had to keep face. You saw what happened when he didn't keep face. Mutiny. People died.
I didn't think that a second ago, but okay.
And so,
That's
from
fair.
what we can take from this is table slamming works in all arguments, and you will win them.
But despite that, or in spite of that, however, they build him up to someone you actually care about by the second movie. By the end of the second movie, which I thought was cool because he was such a distant character in the first, really only touched on here and there. I thought his death was drawn out, but I was waiting for it all movie. So that might have been just me.
You knew it
Someone
was going to
ruined
happen.
it, yeah.
I don't know. I think they built, just like how they built up the first movie to lead to him finding his father, I think they built Yondu up in the first movie to become that father figure in the second movie like he does. Because, you know, he saves Peter Quill, even when he switches out the Infinity Stone for the little troll doll, he lets it slide.
That's true. That's
every
fair.
time. And then when they needed his help to stop the purple one, he helped out then too. And you could, I guess, like, you could argue this was all for his own sake, but I think at the end of the day, like, it wasn't for him, it was for Chris Pratt.
Can we talk about Kurt Russell then? Ego? Because he was bland.
He was so bland. I was like, when is he gonna turn evil? Like, you knew that was gonna happen.
That was I think my biggest issue with this one. The first one, you don't necessarily know how things are gonna come together. You know, I mean, you kind of do if you know or analyze film, but it's still, there's still surprises along the way. You know, and the humor does a great job of complementing that. But this one, from the first 2 seconds of the movie on, you know, oh, he's gonna find his daddy.
Yep.
His dad's gonna be evil. He's gonna fight the dad. And you know that literally by the end of the opening scene. It's so
His character
boring.
was not fleshed out at all.
The plot, yeah.
Terrible. I mean, if it wasn't for all of the explosions and beautiful visual effects, the story's not great.
It's a much weaker story than the first,
Yeah.
for sure.
The villain, I mean, I never really fully understood what his motive was, honestly.
There's some points where the script was definitely
Changed.
visibly weaker.
Yeah.
I mean, one, his character, his evil whatever is not fully explained, not well explained. Two, Chris Pratt, Peter Quill. The first third of the movie, he's like, oh, my dad's an ass. He left my mother to die, da-da-da-da-da. He can't be good. I don't trust him. I shouldn't trust him. I shouldn't trust him. And there's literally, at the drop of a pin, a moment where, with no explanation as to why, he's fighting with Gamora, saying, he's my daddy and I should trust him, with no explanation as to what made that gap cross happen. Yeah.
And I don't know if that we were supposed to pick that up in the acting. Maybe Chris Pratt's just a weak actor.
But he's not. Oh, I love him.
He is a little bit. He's a great goofy guy, but if you put him in any other role, he falls short a little bit. He's a pretty weak actor as far. Great goofy guy. You know, he plays the goofy very well.
Yeah.
But anything else? I mean, Jurassic Park.
Well, that movie was awful.
But he was not. That was hard. Anyways, back to Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, there wasn't really any showing of like why this was his motive, how he came to this. Like there was the weird like doogie things on the side that showed his history. I don't even know what to call those, but they showed his history, and you're like, okay. And then he was like, and then I came to the point that I need to be everywhere. And it's like, first of all, how are you everywhere? How does that make sense? Second of all, if you're everywhere, does that mean the light is everywhere? That the light he keeps talking about? I don't even know what the light is. Is it his brain? Is it his heart? Is it just like light? I don't know. He never really explains it. Second of all, how does he form a human body? This is completely off on a different tangent. If he's like, I've never seen life before, and then he forms a human body, it's like, okay, sir, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves
I think he actually says at one point that he took the human form, but also explicitly says he had never seen life before.
Exactly.
So that counters each other. I think that the overall point really is that Baby Groot's amazing, and Rocket's jokes are just as offensive as they need to be to keep you interested at all levels. And so those two things cover up the fact that everything else is a little bit lackluster this time around.
Baby Groot and Rocket were probably the star of the movie, and everyone else was a side character, even though Chris Pratt was supposed to be the star. It was definitely Baby Groot, Rocket. I would say Nebula played a pretty big part.
Oh, you know what? That's fair. The divide between Gamora and Nebula, the sisters from the first one, who come back, obviously, in this one. I liked that.
Yeah.
I liked that sort of evolution or arc for their relationship and their advancement as siblings and as two separate entities that finally understood one another.
You know what I'm just kind of realizing right now? Of like kind of why it wasn't so great. I think they just put too many plots in one movie. It's just kind of came to me that there was the sister plot, there was the Rocket plot, there was the Peter Quill plot, but he had two different plots because he had the plot with his dad and then the plot with Yondu, and then Yondu had a plot.
And then the Drax and Mantis plot.
Yeah, there's just too many, I guess arcs, yeah. There was just too much happening for that, and there was I don't think there was ever one central.
Oh, and Aisha, the
yellow people, and Aisha, who Aisha's not like, okay, it's not a white person, but there's just like too many different subplots and arcs, and I don't really feel like there was just one like central driving force to the characters in the movie. Like there wasn't just one like, this is what we're doing, and then like there's always like some subplots and arcs within movies, but like in this one there was no like one driving force. Like you had like a bunch of different little points, and they were all trying to wrap up the points, and then at the end it was just like, we're all family, and then that was the point. Which was the point of the last movie too, I think. So
I would still recommend seeing it. It's fun, although if it's a spoiler section you may have already seen it or what have you, but I mean the explosions are cool, it's funny, it's cute, it's enjoyable still, despite its shortcomings.
Definitely had a lot of good jokes, made me laugh. It's definitely funny.
Cool. Well, I think that's it for the spoiler section. Stubtown is brought to you by PSU TV, a student organization. If you want to get involved, hit us up at contact@psu.tv. And, bye.
I am Groot.